Hey guys, this is North back again with another video. Today's video, I'm going to give you my top 20 resinous and balsamic fragrances within my collection. I did do a list last year, so this is the updated version. Last year, I believe I gave you 10 fragrances. This year, I'm going to go ahead and expand it to 20. So hopefully I don't take up too much of your time, and let's go ahead and get it going. Now, before I begin the list, we'll define what resins and balsams are. Simply put, resins is sap, resinoids. You know, it's sap that actually comes from trees. Examples would be frankincense and myrrh. And then balsams are the same thing, resins and saps that come from plants or shrubs. So an example of that would be Labdanum, for example. So the fragrances that I chose for this list are going to be fragrances that feature prominently the notes of frankincense, myrrh, labdanum, opopanax, just to name a few. Benzoin, of course, benzoin is a big one. So they're generally going to be featuring those type of notes along with complementary notes, of course. So let's go ahead and get it going. Now, before I begin my list again, I will not feature incense-based fragrances because I've already done a list on that. So there won't be any quote-unquote churchy incense fragrances on this list, even though I will mention a number of fragrances that feature the note of Olibanum or frankincense. And so two honorable mentions, things that didn't make the list before I get to my top 20 is, first one is from the house of L'Occitane, and this is Ombre. Ombre is a discontinued scent. This is a typical quintessential super sweet amber scent, which has vanilla, the amber accord, and labdanum. I believe it also has patchouli in it, but that is a great one. Of course, it's discontinued. It's not going for stupid prices, but I don't know what the retail of it was originally because when I purchased it, it was already discontinued. The next one I want to mention is from the house of Diptyque, and this is a Harrods exclusive, and this is Opsis. Opsis, from what I remember, has frankincense, iris, musk. That's all I can remember at the moment, but this is a really great scent. The only thing about it is that it is limited to only being available at Harrods. I got this when it first came out. As you see, I used a lot of the juice because I did do a review on it, so I wanted to get a good number of wears out of it. I wore it throughout the week before I did the review on it. But this is a great scent. It's powdery. It's a little bit incensey. It's not churchy incense, but that's one that I didn't put on the list because I wanted more things that were more like deep resinous type of scents, ones that are more cozy. A lot of them I will use the adjective of powdery for. So let's go ahead and get into the top 20. The first fragrance I want to mention would be higher on the list had I had spent more time with it, but it is from the house of Amouage, and I recently just picked this up, and this one is called Gold Woman. So I was lucky enough to run across the Extrait de Parfum for a great price. If you can see that, this is the Extrait. These older extraits are hard to come by. They released 3 new extraits, Epic 56 and Interlude 53 or whatever the numbers are. But the extrait ones are still available to buy on the Amouage website, but this one is so hard to find that it's sold out on the Amouage website as well. So here's the bottle. It's a 50 ml bottle, extrait. Like I said, I just got it the other day, so that's why I'm just putting this in at number 20, but I believe it's something that would have to go on this list because it just has this old school feel. It's powdery, and when it dries down, it is of course resinous and a little bit floral. It's floral as well. That's what's good about it, but it's an old school type of feel. People say that it reminds them of something like Chanel No. 5 or something like that, but it doesn't have aldehydes in it, so you don't get any aldehyde feel from it. But there is a slight powdery, animalic, and resinous composition to it. This one was released in 1983. Some of the notes on it are rose, lily of the valley, frankincense, myrrh, orris, jasmine, ambergris, civet, cedarwood, and sandalwood. So there's a lot going on here. I noticed that not with Jubilation 25, but with the Lyric Woman extrait, and even with this gold extrait, they sit a little bit closer to the skin. They're not as loud as other ones, but Gold Woman is quite similar to Gold Man, except Gold Man maybe a little bit more animalic. Moving on. Number 19 on the list would actually generally be number 20, just because all of these fragrances that I love, I really do like them. That's why they're on the list. So none of them are really misses. They're just the ones I like the least to the ones I like the most as far as resinous compositions are concerned. And the next one comes from Santa Maria Novella, and this one is called Opopanax. So a lot of people should be familiar with this house. On the bottom it should say Opopanax. And this one has Opopanax, resins, musk, and patchouli. Now the bottle that I got, I ordered this from the States. The bottle that I got, it doesn't come with the spray, so it's a splash. And so I generally decant them and things like this, and label them, of course. So I just decant them and label them. All of these are eau de cologne, which means they have the least amount of perfume oil in it. So the reason this is the last one on the list generally is just because it is an eau de cologne style. It reminds me more of an aftershave. It does have a resinous type of feel to it, but it's not something that's like super prominent. It is a good one, but for the price, I'm not sure if it would be worth your while. People tend to love it though, but I'll need to spend some more time with it for sure. Moving on. Number 18 on the list is the only one that I own from the house. It was the only one that spoke to me, and this is from the house of Bohème, and this one's called Ambre. Ambre to me is a sweeter version of L'air du Désert Marocain. That's what it reminds me of. This one was released in 2017. Notes are incense, Peru balsam, geranium, vanilla, tonka bean, and vetiver. All of these are extrait de parfums. They only come in 30 ml. But I do really like this scent a lot. I like it more than L'air du Désert Marocain. I sold that bottle just because it just wasn't for me. So let's go ahead and keep it going. Number 17 on the list is from the house of Etat Libre d'Orange, and this one is Marqués de Sade. This particular one is said to only have the note of labdanum. And this is just, I've never smelled the labdanum resin, but this one is just one note. It is very linear. It also is, to me, is a very unique smell. This is why I put it on the list. It's the only one that I still own from the house. I do like it a lot. I haven't worn it a ton of times, but it's very unique to me. I do like it. Does anybody else like it as well? But I had to put this one on the list just because it's only supposed to feature the note of labdanum, and I just thought that was very interesting. Moving on. Number 16 is from the house of Moresque, and this is again the only one that I own from the house, and this one is called Seta. Now, shout out to my wife. She did buy this for me when we were walking in the mall a year or so ago. And this is one that I tried, and it was right up my alley. It was very vanillic and benzoin. This one was released, Seta was released in 2018. Notes on it are saffron, lemon, bergamot, myrrh, ylang ylang, vanilla, sandalwood, and benzoin, of course. So this one is a very sweet, cozy, resinous scent. And so that's what the majority of them are kind of going to be. Again, this one I like more than any of the other offerings in this particular bottle. There are more expensive bottles that I've tried, and they're on sale, but they're still quite expensive. And none of them I like as much as Seta. Let's move on. Number 15 on the list is from the house of Frank Boclet. And this is a slept-on house. The other ones and the other bottles do get a little bit more attention than these, and this one is called Erotic. This one is called Erotic. See if anybody can see that out there. So these bottles went on sale 50% off, so I was just trying them out, seeing which ones actually that I could pick up, because since they were 50% off. And this one, I tried it. I went and got some coffee and I came back and I bought it. This one was released in 2018. Notes on it are rosemary, lemon, benzoin, heliotrope, castoreum, vanilla, civet, opopanax, labdanum, and sandalwood are some of the notes. This one I put on one of my lists of animalic fragrances. So you do get the animalic facets of it, the civet and castoreum, but it's like it plays the background to like the vanilla and the sweeter notes like the benzoin. So this one is definitely a resinous scent. I love it because it's both resinous and it's slightly animalic at the same time. Moving on. Number 14 is in the running for probably my favorite normal line of men's designer fragrances, and this one is Body Curos. This is the older formulation bottle, as you can see. This one was released in 2000. Notes on it are eucalyptus, incense, cedar, clary sage, and benzoin. So what's unique about this is the eucalyptus note mixed with the benzoin. This is just a very one-of-a-kind type of scent. It's super slept on. If you ever get a chance to check it out in the mall, definitely check it out for me. I mean, I really do like the scent. I did a video on backup bottles. This is one I do have a backup bottle of. I have the newer formulation, and then I found this one. It was very good. Moving on. Number 14 on the list is another most recent pickup. I did do a review on this one, and this is from Russian Adam at Ori Chiladore, and this is in Mysore Incenza. Mysore Incenza, again, I did a review on this one. It was released last year, 2022. This one has Olibanum, rose, ambergris, or ambergris, jasmine, Mysore sandalwood, and amber, which I usually don't include saying amber in if I like just put highlights of notes on it, just because amber isn't a core that usually is made with different things like labdanum. But in his description, he says that he distilled amber in this. That's the only reason I mentioned it. I do really like the scent. Again, if you want to know my full thoughts on it, you can look at my review. This is a very surprising, extremely wearable, slightly incensey sandalwood, just all around good composition. You should definitely, if you're able to get a chance, check it out. I was able to try it before I bought it, which is extremely hard to do with these scents. Moving on. Number 12 on the list is from the house of von Userdorf. And this is one I wish I had done a review on it. Maybe I will in the future. And this one is called Classic Opopanax. So I remember getting this one. This is another fragrance that No Nose, No Notes put me on to. I didn't know what to expect when I first got it. So when I first tried it, I didn't hate it, but it wasn't what I thought or what I was going to expect. It's not like Seta, where it's pretty much vanilla and benzoin, like a cozy type of scent. This one's very powdery. It has rose, jasmine, opopanax, benzoin, vanilla, castoreum, and patchouli. This one was released in 2015, if I didn't mention that, but I actually grew to love this scent. It smells very similar, or one of those Electimus actually smells quite similar to this. I think it's like something Pomona. This came out first, obviously. So when I smelled that one, I was like, oh, this reminds me of something. And I kept thinking, and it was Classic Opopanax, but this is a very powdery scent. It doesn't have iris or anything like that, but it's something that I just grew to love. I really like this scent now, and I didn't like it at first. Moving on. Number 11 on the list is from the house of Francesca Bianchi, and this one is called Angel's Dust. This one I love a lot. As you see, I've used quite a bit of it. These only come in 30 ml extraits. This one was released in 2016. Some of the notes on it are iris, mimosa, benzoin, Tolu balsam, vanilla, sandalwood, and rose. And this is another powdery scent, but this one, the powderiness comes from the iris or the orris root, which is part of like her signature like DNA. This one and the Lover's Tale are two of the three that I own, and those are ones I absolutely love. That one's very animalic. This one isn't. It's powdery, and then it dries down, and then you get those resins, and it's an awesome scent. These are very affordable, so if you ever have a chance to check this one out, definitely do so. Moving on. Now we've broken the top 10. The next one is from the house of Molten Brown. And this is, again, the only one I own from the house. And this one is called Milk Musk. Just an awesome, sweet, lactonic, benzoin forward fragrance. This is the Eau de Parfum. It was released in 2020. It has milk, elamine, vanilla, ambroxan, tonka bean, and benzoin. This is just a great scent. Like I said, it's cozy, lactonic, and benzoin, so it has that vanilla quality. It also has vanilla in it. I liked it so much that I got the EDT, where the notes differ a little bit, but they are similar. They're not the same. The Eau de Parfum is just leaps ahead as far as quality and just the way I enjoy the scent. But that's why it's definitely in my top 10. Moving on. Number 9 is a most recent pickup, but I was able to try the parfum version of it. It's a classic fragrance, but and the guy that I got the parfum from, the parfum was actually evaporated, but I did spray it once and I like it. But this one again is a classic, and it's also a quintessential amber scent, or what it was called at the time, an oriental. It's just quintessential. I've only owned it for a little bit. I haven't even worn it a full time, but I already know that it's a top 10 resinous and balsamic scent, and this is Opium Eau de Parfum. This is the one that was released in 2009. This, when I checked the batch code, says it was produced last year, so it's pretty recent. But even when I tried it, this one smells pretty good. I will maybe in the future track down a vintage bottle, because that seems to be the thing, to get the vintage ones. But I don't, my guy's taxing right now, and I'm not willing to. I definitely wasn't willing to pay the price on something that I basically hadn't smelled, and then I was kind of burnt from getting the parfum, and it was evaporated. There was almost nothing in it. I'll try to put up a picture of what it looked like. But this one, again, 2009, notes on it are mandarin orange, myrrh, jasmine, opopanax, patchouli, and vanilla. And this is, again, just, you have to, if you like resinous and balsam fragrances, you have to have this in your collection. Now I know it's one, it's not my, right now it's not my favorite, but it's definitely a top 10 resinous and balsamic fragrance, especially when it came out originally in 1977, what they were trying to do with this scent profile and doing oriental type fragrances. Moving on. Number 8 on the list is a Le Labo city exclusive that I just had to get my hands on once I became obsessed with the note of benzoin, just because of the vanillic quality to it. It's not something, a resin that I'm able to get here. I guess maybe you could buy it on Amazon or something, but I haven't. So the one I'm going to talk about is Benjoin 19. And my biggest beef with Le Labo is that they're already expensive for what you get, and then the city exclusives are just ridiculously priced. But I went on ahead and spent and got this one. It was released in 2013. The notes on it are benzoin, olibanum, cedar, and musk. So this is a more smoky benzoin fragrance. It does have a vanilla quality, but it's not as cozy as the other ones that I've mentioned, or that I will mention. It's more of a smoky type of feel to it. So you might prefer this more than ones that I've mentioned, like Seta, or one that I will mention shortly. Moving on. Number 7 on the list is a fragrance that I originally owned. It is discontinued. It's another Amouage. It's discontinued. I bought 100 ml of it. I actually sold it. I thought it was okay, but then I sold it. I didn't get a chance to appreciate it until I smelled Bint Al Sudan, and I did a small review on Bint Al Sudan, and I know that this fragrance had to have been 100% inspired by that scent, and this is Fate Woman. I was able to find a 50 ml bottle of this. It's hard to see in the light, just the nuance of the bottle, but it's a very, very beautiful bottle design. The good thing about this one that I found, you know, I got it for a decent price, but then also it's an older one. It does not have a magnetic cap, so that was a cool little find. So I got a deal on it. I like the 50 ml bottles because 100 ml is just too much, and I just like the way that they look. But this one is awesome. Fate Woman was released in 2013. Notes on it are cinnamon, incense, narcissus, labdanum, benzoin, vanilla, castoreum, and rose. Those are some of the notes on it. And so Fate Woman again is very reminiscent of a Benzoin Sudan, which you can get for like a few bucks. They're not exactly the same. The openings are basically the same. But on the dry down, Fate Woman does develop a little bit more. But I appreciated it. I began to appreciate it so much that I had to put in the top 10, and I also had to find a bottle of it again. And I was lucky enough to stumble across this 50 ml, I guess, vintage bottles. With the older Amouages, they don't have like batches or anything like that that you can look up online. Moving on. Number 6 on the list is from the house of Stéphane Humbert Lucas. It's one that I had been wanting to pick up. I got it for a little bit cheaper now than I would have been able to get it, even at a slightly discounted price when they first had it, but it had sold out a long time ago. And this one is called Hira. Hira is another spicy quintessential amber scent in the likes of Ambre Sultan, Ambre Orient from Armani, Amber Absolute. It is a little bit different, but it does have a lot of similarities to those fragrances. It was released in 2014. The notes on this one are labdanum, which it features prominently, Styrax, cinnamon, tonka bean, and vanilla. This is one that I'm glad I was able to pick up for a decent price, get it shipped to me for free, add it to collection. But it's in the same realm of those. So if you're familiar with those scents, you might like this. It's a little bit different, but at the end, they share a lot of similar qualities, but I do like it a lot. It is great. Moving on. All right, the top 5. Number 5 on my list is, at the time being, is my all-time favorite Armani Privé fragrance, and this one is Myrrh Impériale. This is the 250 ml bottle of Myrrh Impériale that I was able to locate. That's how much, I liked it. But Myrrh Impériale was one of the very first fragrances, especially the private line or niche, whatever fragrances, that I really, really liked. So my taste has changed a little bit since then, but I still really love this one. I love the sweetness of it, and I love the interpretation of myrrh in this fragrance. And Myrrh Impériale was released in 2013. Notes on it are myrrh, benzoin, vanilla, saffron, pink pepper. And this one, again, it's just great. It's not much that I can say about it. I love this so much that I had the 100 ml bottle. I sold that one so that I could get this 250 ml bottle. This is just something that I don't wear a lot, but I just kind of, at the time, I didn't want to be without it. I would rather have found a 50 ml bottle, because this and the 50 ml are ones that are, I don't know if they ever made a 50 ml, but if they did, it would be extremely rare. And this one I know you're not going to be able to find, so I'm gonna hang on to it. All right, number 4 on my list is one that I've talked about a number of times. Again, it's from the house of Stéphane Humbert Lucas, and this is Oumma. So this one I did put on my incense list, even though it is not a churchy incense fragrance. What this one smells like, again, is a type of incense that they burn here called mahmoud. So it's like a powdery type of sense, a powdery oud type sense with a little bit of rose in it. It was released in 2013. This one has 3 types of roses: Egyptian jasmine, Tolu balsam, Peru balsam, oud, and Cypriol oil. When I first smelled Oumma, it was love at first sniff. I absolutely loved this scent because I had said before, if I could find that smell in a fragrance, that I would get it. Unfortunately, it was in the line that was like the most expensive line. So at the time, this was my most expensive fragrance that I had ever bought, but I still love it. I have gotten compliments on it. It's not for everybody. I don't think everybody can appreciate this one. It's not like a super, what's the word? mass appealing type of scent, but if you get it, you get it. People say it's rose and oud. I don't get rose and oud. For me, it's just the powdery Boucour incense that they burn here. That's what I get from it, and it's great. Moving on. Number 3 on my list is from the house of Ormonde Jayne. This was the very first Ormonde Jayne that I had purchased. This is one of my most successful blind buys of all time, and it actually moved up. I don't remember what it was on the list last year. It may not even have been top 5. I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and see, but this one is called Tolu. Tolu from Ormonde Jayne. This one was released in 2002. So it's an old one. It has orange blossom, rose, Tolu balsam, of course, Tonka bean, and Olibanum. This one opens up citrusy, but the way that it dries down into this resinous, just like a light resinous, slightly citrusy once it dries down type of scent. It's super unique. It's completely unisex, as all these fragrances are, but it's just something that is just an excellent, beautiful type of scent. This is one that I wouldn't be able to praise enough. I really like it a lot. I wish I could just wear it more. I don't give it as much appreciation or as much time as I should, as much as I do like this scent. So that's number 3. Moving on. Number 2 on my list is my favorite Memo Paris. It's one that I've talked about before. I don't remember where it was on the list last year, but I had to put it on here. This is probably the most resinous, it's a little bit sweet, but not super sweet, but just a real resinous type of scent. It's very serious, and it's a beast of a scent. This is the best one from Memo Paris, and this is Champs Oud. Champs Oud, as you see, this is not the original cap. The original cap was gold, but for me, I'm so happy that I was able to locate a tester bottle of it. I just couldn't believe it, because these are quite expensive. I've owned a number of Memo Parises. All of them I've gotten rid of. The ones that I had were all pretty nice, but I was trying to whittle down my collection. But this is one that I cannot get rid of. It was released in 2011. Champs Oud has saffron, Cypriol oil, oud, French Labdanum, Tolu balsam, and Styrax. So it's just loaded with resins. And this, like I said, it lasts such a long time. You wear this, it's spicy. And then it's just this deep resinous type of scent. This is something when they talk about like a spiritual type of scent. Usually some of those I do get, and it's like a lighter type of incense or churchy incense type of description. But this one is deep, and it's also spiritual at the same time. I just love this scent. This is another one that I wish that I wore more of. I'll definitely have to slap this on before the heat starts to come back. Let's move on to number 1. And number 1 is still number 1 on my list for a lot of different reasons. I still love the scent, but just it has a lot of sentimental value for me. How when I first got into watching fragrance reviews, it was one that I really wanted. I didn't know how to get it. They didn't have it at the stores. It was but when I got it, it wasn't rumored to be discontinued, but it's not discontinued. And this is from the house of Diptyque, and this is Benjoin Bohème. Beautiful bottle. I still love this scent. It comes in and out of Selfridges. That's where I got it from, Selfridges. Like recently when I checked it the other day, it's back up and available now. It might be even a little bit cheaper, but they tend to sell out and then they'll restock. I know that it's still available at the Diptyque boutiques in Paris. So again, it's not discontinued. Benjoin Bohème was released in 2015. This one has benzoin, of course, sandalwood, styrax, and patchouli leaf. And this is probably the most successful blind buy. This is something that, it's weird when something is like kind of hyped up and then it lives up to your expectation. That's what this is. If you don't love it, it's okay. We all have different tastes. But for me, the hype and the anticipation was well worth it with this. I really do love this scent still. And most of these, again, I have to just wear more of. My taste change new fragrances come in the collection. You know, there's only so many days in the year, but this is one that I have to keep in my collection. When I saw it on there, I almost wanted to buy another bottle. That's how much I love Benjoin Bohème. So if you get a chance, I would definitely try to sample it. Sampling is always the way to go if you're able to do it, but sometimes you have to blind buy. So those are my top 20 resinous and balsamic fragrances for the year of 2022. Do you like resinous and balsamic fragrances? What are some of your favorites that are in your collection? Are there some of them on my list? Just give me some more ideas of some things that are like deep and resinous that you may think I might want to check out. I do appreciate it. Do like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one, guys. Peace.